Everybody faces struggles in their life. We all have highs and lows, and everybody knows that some lows can damage a person. The COVID-19 virus has been a struggle for everyone, and some people have experienced a drastic decline in their mental health. Hi, I am Lorelai Namath, and the coronavirus has lasted a lot longer than anybody expected, and today we will discuss how it affected my mental health. I, along with the rest of the world, have experienced isolation and how it can affect a mental well-being. Most every person in the United States has come in contact with some sort of mental issues. According to the National Institute of Mental Health report on effect of COVID-19, says in a CDC report which surveyed adults across the United States in June of 2020, 31% of respondents reported to have symptoms of anxiety and depression. 13% reported to have increased substance use, and 26% reported stress-related symptoms, and 11% reported having serious thoughts of suicide in the past 30 days. These issues include me. Today, we will discuss my mental health before the pandemic, then we will discuss what my mental health was like during the pandemic, and then we will discuss how it impacted me, how I think it will impact me in the future. Now that you have some common understanding about mental health in this pandemic, let's cover what it was like before the pandemic. After hitting the snooze button a couple times, I finally mope out of bed and get ready for the day. I have an 8 a.m. chemistry class, so I need to get ready for that. My sister leaves about the time I wake up, so I don't get to see her much. Finally, I get in the car with my mom so she can drop me off at my best friend's house so her dad can take me to school and my mom can go to work. Once I get to school, my boyfriend brings me a flavored water so I can enjoy during my first class. After class, we head over to the library and we'll play games, work on school, and I also often use that time to talk to them about the issues I was facing in my life revolving divorce and my mom marrying her current wife. This made it a lot easier to go home. After that, I would head over to geometry with my 3 friends and we would go in there and have a great class. We all never talked about biology or geometry, but we just talk, and it was a lot of fun. And then after that class, we would go to the lake and hang out, just watch the ducks, or just walk around, some physical exercise of the day. Then I finally head to my last class, my 1:30 English class. There, it's a very small class, so we were all bunched together, and we often talked about a lot of serious issues in each other's lives. We'd have deep discussions, and it was overall a wonderful class. Once I am released from class, I hug my friends goodbye and get in the car to head home with my stepmom. Then I will go lock myself in my room to finish all the homework I was assigned for the day and get it done by tomorrow. Later that night, I will have a nice dinner with my family quickly so I can get off to go to swim practice with my dad. When I went to swim practice, there was often not many people there because it was in the winter, so my dad would often swim laps while I practiced with my team. After a fun practice, I head home and say goodbye to my dad. Then I shower, read a few pages of my Bibles, say a quick prayer, and then hop into bed. Now that you know what my life was like before the pandemic, let's discuss how it is now. I spend most of my days at home like anyone else. I was unable to see my best friend and my boyfriend for 4 months. During that time, I was settling into a new house and being forced to communicate with my family. I never realized how nobody really talks to each other. So when we finally did, me and my mom realized we have a tough time communicating. We often spent a lot of time yelling, and we would go days without trying to talk to each other. There was no swim practice, so I was unable to spend time with my dad and was forced to just spend the assigned time he had because of the divorce papers. I lost my relationship with my mom, I couldn't see my friends, and I didn't get to spend any time talking to people. I suffered with negative feelings of loneliness, pain, and lost motivation to even live. I spent more and more time crying without anybody to turn to. However, a little over 6 months ago, I decided that I was going to stop hurting over what I can't do and start doing what I actually can do. I realized that I had more time than ever, so I spent a lot of it with God. I would spend hours reading, praying, worshiping, and watching online sermons. I grew my relationship with God and was able to overcome some of the terrible feelings by understanding that I am never alone. I get to see my friends now, but definitely not like it was. Me and my mom have slowly gotten better, and I still struggle with regular breakdowns and times where I feel extremely unmotivated, but there is at least some hope now. With all the extra time, I also spend more time in nature and doing what I love, just at home. The pandemic has flipped my life around. Now that there is some hope, I think it may be able to turn right side up in the future. My mental health will never be the same. Isolation, however, may be easier on me in the future. I am able to spend my time wisely and not just in tears. An article in the CDC talks about coping with stress, and he says that taking care of yourself can better equip you to take care of others. During times of social distancing, it's especially important to stay connected with your friends and family. In the future, I will be able to easier understand how to comfort my friends and family during times of trouble. The world will never be the same. However, I believe that everyone will come out stronger than they went in, never forgetting the little things. The global pandemic has affected everyone. Let's review what we've covered. Today, we covered mental health and the pandemic. First, we talked about my mental health before the pandemic. Then we talked about how it changed during the pandemic. And lastly, we discussed how I think it'll change after. The coronavirus has changed the lives of so many people. Despite all of the struggles we have met, it will build us up. I know that there will be a new sense of mental strength in all of us. Thank you so much for your time.